Well, the season didn't go as long as everyone hoped it would, but it was a playoff team for the second consecutive year. Midway Panthers last week losing to what is a fantastic team in Waxahachie, 44-7, joined by Joe Gillespie. Kind of a season summary and a look ahead to the offseason. How are you the week after you don't have a game? Are you grumpy? Are you reflective? Or are you like, okay, wait a minute, how have you been this week?
David, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm kind of all the above. You know, we reflect back on, what could have been and, you point fingers at a lot of things. When you talk about injuries and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm extremely proud of these kids and how hard they fought. I mean, they fought. And, we met a great opponent in Waxahachie, Shane Tollison and them. I wish them the best. I hope they play for a long time. And but it was a great journey. It was a fun journey for me. I'll be honest with you. I told them at the end of the game the other evening, there's not much you can say at that point that's going to make things better. But man, that's the most fun I've had in a long time. And to sit there and get to do that with that squad and a bunch of young men and especially the seniors and when from the time that I came in to the last second that ticked off the clock, it's been a fun journey and a fun ride to get to do that with them.
What did you learn about Midway football?
Well, the thing that I learned with this team, and I think every team has its own identity, and we talked about that early in the season. It's just creating an identity, a mystique about yourself and stuff. We got a bunch of resilient kids that, they honestly, Midway right now needs some continuity. And, they've had a number of different offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, different programs and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very hopeful that we can maintain our staff. And, I'm anxious, obviously, to get started in the all season, because last season when we came in, got here in February, really didn't start implementing our stuff until after spring break, which was mid-March. And we need a full off-season, man. And they need a full off-season of familiar faces and voices and excited about that opportunity because, there was a point there where there was about 4 or 5 of us going out there working through the off-season. And, to have a full staff and do those things, it does wonders for us from a coaching standpoint. It certainly does, more wonders for our kids and stuff. And so really anxious to get going with that.
So you did not have spring drills, and I know that's down the road, but because you came in late and then you had the extra week in August, if everything goes according to plan as you get through the holidays, but also the immediacy of the off-season, weights and conditioning, do you plan on going back to the traditional part of having spring drills?
There's a piece of me, I could argue it both ways, David. There's a piece of me that really wants to go do spring ball. There's a piece of me that really liked kind of what we did, and maybe we dug into it a little bit. Honestly, the school calendar is what makes a big difference in things. So, the final straw that helped us make the decision last spring outside of, there's 5 of us on staff or whatever. The final straw was when school began. School began on August 14th. Well, if we had done spring ball, we couldn't have gone through fall camp until August 12th. Well, you would have gotten 2 days.
Right.
And so kind of got to look, school is starting earlier and earlier each year. You got to take that into consideration. If that's the case, then we probably need to sit there and entertain the idea of what we did last spring, just with the ability to do it with a full staff. And, if we can get a good 7 to 10 days of spring ball, of fall camp, then you might behoove you to sit there and entertain that aspect. And so I really haven't looked at the school calendar. I wasn't looking ahead. I was looking at, trying to win round one.
Right.
And then,
Right.
you know, where we're going to go and who we're going to play round two. And so, you know, having approached that but we still got a little time here to sit there and make those decisions.
Joe, there's no question that you have a bunch of players back. I know that the seniors, you hate to see them leave. It's part of like what I call high school college time, or in high school father time. And in college, you could say that. But
Sure.
now guys are playing 7-8 years, depending on whatever they have available. But it's part of the clock. The calendar moves on. And I remember when I played, and I was just an average honorable mention high school football player, that after the first game, I went back to go talk to my coach, and they were in off season, the great Bob Mickler, the late Coach Mickler, and he basically explained to me that once you are a senior and you're done, it's not that you're a dead man, but it's like next man up. You got to turn the page. You have a lot of players back. You're going to miss the ones that are on their way out, but you played a ton of young men. Have you had this many players come back in all your years when you were at Stephenville for the following year if things work out?
Probably not. You know, simply because enrollment plays a big deal.
Sure.
And things of that nature. You know, we're excited about what we have coming back. Obviously, you know, the seniors that played for us, and we had a good slew of them. I mean, we had 38 to 40 seniors. And, you know, but you also look out there at some times, you know, from a defensive standpoint, where we had 2 seniors on the field. And, you know, from an offensive standpoint, when we were at full throttle and stuff like that, you were talking about 4 or 5. And you know, to have that much youth and stuff on the field, it certainly, you know, probably on paper, you're sitting there saying, hey, there's an opportunity for us to be pretty good. And, you know, we need, like I was saying earlier, we need a full off season, and we haven't gotten that. And, you know, we're excited to sit there and get that in. And, you know, our off season is built around, you know, not just sharpening tools and perfecting trades and getting stronger and faster, but it's also injury prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's something that we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to this season, because, you know, we went through like we said earlier, you know, we were riddled with some injuries and need to sit there and, you know, come together and put all of our minds together along with our strength staff and coaching staff and everybody. And let's get it to where these young men can survive a full, long season.
You mentioned continuity with your staff, and you're right, man. They've been from Coach Hume, who left, and then Shane, who was there for a couple of years. At the end of his second year, was not there, and then Esram did an incredible job of like connecting the dots. And then you coming in, and what Esram was able to do, because a lot of guys may not have been able to stay around and be a part of your staff. And that says a lot about how much he loves Midway football. Do you feel like, and there's always opportunities out there with coaches who are on your staff, but do you feel like that you feel good about what, at least from what you know now, that you'll have most everybody back?
I think so. You know, that was one of the big deals, and that's why it took us, you know, honestly, so long to sit there and fill a staff. And, you know, we never opened anything up. We really, by word of mouth and reaching out and hand-picking, so to speak, you know, trying to assemble a staff. And, you know, one of our biggest deals was, hey, I'm all for guys growing. And I want guys to grow. I want guys to come in and you know, learn and grow from this process and go on and be in positions that I'm in, or be a coordinator and things of that nature. And so it's kind of the nature of the beast. You got to expect it a little bit. But one of our biggest objectives was, hey, I need some guys that are going to come in here and stay with us for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I need this for the kids. I need this for the program. And you know, I think they see the future. They see what we can be, and they see the opportunity. And, you know, sometimes opportunity is a lot greater if you just be a little bit patient.
So you have, as I mentioned, seniors who are moving on. Michael Collins is going to play college football. There'll be, is Landon Wissington going to get an opportunity?
Yeah, Landon's, he's currently committed to Prairie View A&M. Landon had a phenomenal season.
Oh, yeah.
And, he's defensive district MVP. And so, he came out. Those are going to be some hard guys to sit there and replace. They really are. And but it's an opportunity for you, Landon Popes and some other guys, to step up to the plate and make the same impact.
And by the way, there's other seniors. I don't need to start naming all of them off. It's not like that, but I just wanted to bring him up. He was a fantastic player, and I mean, it just seemed like great news about that defensive MVP. That's well earned. So you have this running back room that Longoria came back after he had the the shoulder, and played. Yes, and then you also have others, and then you have the dude. And I think it's fair to say Lathan and how much he grew up from his freshman year to what he did even from earlier in the year to what he became. You've had great players before. How do you explain him, and what about now, how you handle him in the offseason and all the attention he's about to get?
Well, Lathan, and I've said this before, and as long as he keeps this characteristic about him, Lathan's going to be extremely special. His work ethic is second to none. Lathan is not a big time talker, he's not big into the social media, which the young man at that age, if I would have been the caliber of player that he is today, if I would have been that at that age, and had all the social media and everything, probably would have ruined me. And but he's handled everything with a great deal of maturity. And but like I said, I mean, he's a workhorse. We're going to have to be smart on how we work him and what we do with him, because he's a different kid, and he's a high level caliber football player. And I really think that our running back room has an opportunity to be one of the best rooms that we have. And I think we got some good rooms. Our linebacker rooms, we got everybody coming back, minus Donovan Jones and Lincoln Fisher. And everybody else is coming back. And at secondary wise, we have the opportunity to have a lot of guys come back, minus Landon. And so when you start saying those things, you're going to have to manipulate this a little bit differently than what you've been in the past. And make sure that we're training these kids in the right way and putting them in the very best position. And then we got some work to do. There's always some, you lose a Mike Collins, you lose guys like that, Lane Gardner, defensive line, we went without a Carlos Dalton and a Colin Roberts and guys like that. You lose a Roman Wahardo. So we took a pretty big hit on the D-line aspect. So we got some young kids that are going to have to step up to the plate for sure.
I saw Carlos, despite the knee injury, is going to play college football too, and I know there's others that might eventually have that opportunity. You had Andrew McNair that stepped in when Cash went down with the unfortunate knee injury. We saw what he did against Bryan. Obviously, the last couple of games did not go as well overall. The quarterback competition room, Andrew, and do you have some others you think that can also build that competition to make whoever comes out at the end even better?
Absolutely. And we're fired up about what the quarterback room looks like right now. And, we think that it's just going to continue to grow and, getting some of our younger guys in that room. When Cash went down, it forced us to sit there and move a Court Strickland up from the JV, who was perfectly ready for it. But, we needed him taking snaps, and that's what you try to refer to as a program. And, but I was watching those guys after the Bryan game. I'm watching Andrew McNair. I'm watching Court Strickland. I'm watching Hudson Pierce, who's a freshman that got released, towards the end of the season. Watching Josiah Rodriguez, watching several guys walk into that room. That's what when you watch a bunch of guys that are 6'1" plus walk in the room and you got them back for 2-3 more years, that's a great thing. And then we got some younger ones coming as well. So competition is a great thing, especially competition within your locker room. Gets even better. And so to have that stuff, it's going to do nothing but make us better.
Joe, thank you, man. It was fun. You have been great to work with. Enjoyed seeing you guys on Tuesdays. Missed that this week, though. because the games are over, but you and your staff from Josh Creech, who I think early on wasn't so sure who I was. Like, hey, who is this guy? He keeps asking me about my players and our depth chart. And then obviously with Kevin Crane and many others, I really, really enjoyed getting to know you guys and look forward to already what will be a part of next fall with you and everybody else. We appreciate your time. I thought what you guys went through, the resiliency, the perseverance, etc. And I think it's also important, despite the loss the last 2 weeks, is that Midway had been in a 3-year drought of no playoffs, and now there's a little bit to build on because it's been back-to-back years. It wasn't easy, but back-to-back years, and I think you can't start a streak unless you start a streak and you get back to it. I think that was important too.
Absolutely. Well, David, I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys and your support and what you do for our kids, and that support means more to me than you'll ever know, and we're deeply grateful and look forward to getting to do this again with you.
I will do it soon. Joe Gillespie, head football coach at Midway, on the Midway High School Football Podcast to wrap up the 2024 season.